Hi there. This is a video that I thought was good for the end of the week, and it might help people they could watch this over the weekend and get an idea of what to think about in terms of turning the engine back on when Monday comes around. In this case, it's a long weekend in Canada, and Tuesday will be coming around, and you kind of look at a bunch of tasks, and it can be pretty overwhelming if you don't think about maybe putting them into a system. And we're going to use an idea of other work that I do, which is in automation and flows. And we're going to try to transpose them or apply them to how someone might organize other types of work. And hopefully it will help you if you find it overwhelming when a week begins. So typically a task would be, let's say we would say, okay, if you're a content creator or something, your task is create a new video is going to be on your list, but it's also going to have other things involving writing certain people back or getting on top of this or that. So you would have a stack of items in a list, and that is totally good. It's better than having no idea, having everything in your head, which in some professions people really do work like that, and or they have things written on random pieces of paper in different areas, and a lot is in people's heads. So nothing really wrong with a traditional task list, but I do want to talk about systems. And a system would be something that is maybe a bit more repeatable, which we'd call a loop, as a loop, and maybe a bit almost robotic, which is you'd say, "Oh yeah, I don't like automation in computers. I think it's destroying the planet." But a lot of things that we do can benefit from some of the areas that we get inside of the computer, which is a human invention, right? So it's not like this is an alien force that we work with. Every tool and technology has some kind of root in human nature. So let's go over, get off of philosophy, and let's go into an example flow. So this is not even work related, but we would have a trigger, an action, an outcome, and some feedback. So let's go with orange. So the trigger would be something like 6 a.m. alarm goes off. This is if fitness is sort of scheduled that day, and the action is uh, tie up shoelaces. That's a specific, get the shoes on, tie them up. That's a classic image of getting ready to do some fitness, and go for run is an action. And the outcome, various outcomes involving increased heart rate, and improved mood. That's typically why anyone would subject themselves to such horror as running on a treadmill. And then the feedback is weighing yourself in, weighing in looser clothes. In some cases, not. You have to be honest that sometimes, okay, this flow isn't really achieving the goals that are maybe lower down here, and maybe this has to change a bit with some different triggers, like at 4 p.m. it's time to cut vegetables because we're going to be cooking dinner and going at things that route. So you can, so overall, but it doesn't necessarily have to be fitness, but this is the general idea. And that's pretty, I think this covers most in this example, because we're going to go over to one with, we're going to look at something like creating content, and we're going to go back to the whole thing about the system versus the list. And So in this case, you could have said, in the traditional way, you would have said write blog post or whatever. But in this case, we could say the trigger is a new idea pops up. So you should be pretty good if you're in the world of content or whatever, that you're always capturing ideas as sort of related to this, because what could be the trigger is an actual time on the calendar. So 9:30 a.m. This is when the session starts, and the trigger is we review the ideas that have been captured, and the action would be to say write the post or record the video. So go through the actual work of doing it. The outcome is, really it is content is posted, and that's a huge thing. When something is posted and shared, it's like a lot of stuff that was just ideas or whatever are really out there and they're published, and that is the one of the potential outcomes. And I don't want it to be I mean, yeah, because this could easily overlap with feedback, but the outcome is maybe a new customer is created down the line. I don't know, from the post being available on a search engine or whatever. And the feedback of this is looking at engagement rates and reviewing analytics. And so that definitely ties up the loop, which is if I can get some arrows here, something to signify a two-way. This is gonna, let's just draw that. It's the loop, uh, both ways, because your engagement rates or whatever your preferred stat is. Come on, give me my tool. I'm done drawing. Whatever it is, sales. That now informs the next time this flow runs. So like just like an automation in the marketing world, this is an example of an automation in how you work and how you operate, that this is the content flow for that runs on Monday morning. And I think why this could be so helpful for a lot of people is that treating it a bit more robotically gives a bit of distance between you, your ego, and the work that needs to get done. And if it wasn't content, I'm sure someone watching this has another thing they have to do that is sort of triggering. So, for example, if you are a manager, imagine, okay, Monday morning, we have to kind of set the tone and get things ready. So maybe you're looking at a similar flow for Sunday evening, which is maybe starting. It could be started with the feedback area and looking at where are our stats and what do we need to work on. And then that could be related to the start of it. I don't know. And then what you're going to be doing is maybe something similar where maybe you were capturing ideas over the weekend to think about and that you made notes, and now you're ready to actually take them and you're going to write the memo or the whatever it is that's or your mini speech that you're going to prepare to the team, and that's similar. And yeah, the feedback, um, in this case, I've gone off of the script that's on here, so it's kind of hard to give a quick answer. But the feedback is maybe something related to how did the team do? How did they respond to the messaging and the feedback for the week? If it's maybe yeah, it's like the goals for the week, were they met, or did the team seem to be acting on them, that kind of thing. So I hope this helps a bit with going back. Remember, just to sum up, the idea of this video is taking your tasks and creating different systems or flows for those tasks, and that might help give some structure to what you're doing rather than going through that arduous list and trying to make sense of it, especially when it's the start of the week and you've done whatever during the weekend. I mean, it's exciting time here in Toronto. We have a team that's performing quite well, and people are very excited, and people stay up late, not that late, but you're up with your friends or something. I don't know. You really want to watch games, and you got to get back into it the next morning. And the weekend is a good time actually to start thinking about what can I do to make the start of my week easier. And to go back to that baseball example, one of the reasons Toronto Blue Jays beat the Yankees is because they played the first two games at home, and they actually had a great advantage to pummel the team two times in a row, which they wouldn't have been able to do if they started the series in New York, which is a very overwhelming stadium from what I see and understand. And it's not like any place you just walk into. This is a religious following that follows this team, and they're going to make it pretty uncomfortable for anyone who comes in during the playoffs. So applying this to your week is getting good wins early on in the week so you don't spend the end of the week feeling like you were an idiot the whole time.